Attention, please. The date is October 21st, 2013. The time is 5:30 p.m. This is a special meeting of the Paris City Council. I'm going to call the meeting to order. Item number 2 on the agenda is conduct public hearing on an application for disannexation filed by Clint Spencer for 2 tracts of land. Tract number 1 is 6.25 acres of land in the Wesley Askin survey. Number 7 being the same property conveyed to Don A. NC by deed dated January 13, 1995, of record in Book 499, page 259, Lamar County Real Property Records. And Tract 2 is 0.011 acres of land, part of the Wesley Askin survey. Number 7, and being part of a called 41.67 acres tract of land conveyed to Don NC by deed of record in Book 499, page 261, Lamar County Real Property Records. The public hearing is now open. Anyone wanting to speak in favor can come forward, state your name and address for the record. If there is nobody wanting to speak in favor, if there's anyone wanting to speak against it, can come forward, write your name and address for the record. If there's nobody speaking against it, the public hearing is now closed. Do we have one more public hearing, or are we done with this?
Yeah, we're done with public hearings.
Okay, what's the next step? Does he need to be told what he needs to do for it?
The next step will bring the disannexation ordinance before the city council, first meeting November.
You have it, Dr. Spencer? Okay, thank you. Item number 3 is discuss and select an engineering firm to design citywide municipal infrastructure project. First of all, I'd like to take a motion to untable this item.
I make a motion we untable.
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Lancaster. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? No. Motion carries. So in the last meeting, we had 4 presentations. All of us had our different opinions on this. And what I would like to do is, this time I think I'll start with what my thought process was, and then we'll go down and see what everybody else thinks. The 2 questions which were raised were, the first question was, how many companies do we want? And if we want more than one company, what companies do we go for? Is that correct? Mm-hmm. Yes. There was no other questions, right? Okay. So with that said, I've gone through the brochures again, and I think as far as I'm concerned, I'm going to say a few things of what decision I've come to. And the decision that I've come to is that I would like to favor AECOM for this as the sole company to begin with. And part of it was the following. At the end of the last meeting, I felt that we needed more than one company. But when you really look at it, AECOM is 3 companies joined together. It coincides with whatever I had actually wanted, which was a relatively large company with the local association and the ability to pull in more bodies if we need to. And I think AECOM affords that to us. The second reason was, as I said, there are 2 other companies associated with AECOM at this point. And I think in particular, Mr. Hayter has quite a bit of knowledge of the local waterworks. He has worked on that before, and I think that is the other reason why I want to favor this. Third reason is that my idea of this to begin with was a relatively rapid process to do it. And I understand there are pros and cons of doing it fast or slow. But the way I look at it, the price of construction keeps going up. And I think the faster we can get done with this, the better it is. Yes, it will be an inconvenience once we get started with the construction project. I think it will be an inconvenience to the people living in the town, but it will be done once and for all and be done and over with rather than a prolonged agony. Having said that, I do think that there are certain things that I would like to say in this regard, one of which happens to be that if the negotiations with AECOM fail on behalf of the city and the AECOM and the city cannot come to a contractual agreement, in that case, I would like to suggest that I would favor a combination of HDR and TNP as the next option. So if I was to take a pick, I'm going with AECOM as the sole provider to begin with. If negotiations with AECOM do not come to some sort of fruition, then I don't want a single company. I would favor two companies, HDR and whatever I said, TNP, as the next two companies. I would personally also like to have some council involvement in the negotiation process when it gets down to contractual agreement between AECOM or, for whatever reason, any other company that we participate in, if the remainder of the council agrees to that. There are certain things which I'm not going to repeat today, and those are the same things, that there should be penalties for delay, and there should also be a clause there that if for some reasons which to be determined by the city staff and whoever the board members are who deal with the contractual agreement, that for whatever reason, if this cannot continue on, for whether there are delays or inability to work together or whatever those legalities may be, then there should be an ability to pull out or give part or more of the things to other companies as the city desires. So those are the gist of what I would like to say. And then from here, I would like to go to Ms. Drake for her opinion.
As far as the rating, AECOM got my #1 vote. If we go with a sole company, I like the fact that there was, I had two different numbers, so I'm not real sure which number was right. I had written down 59% local, and I also had 50% local participation, but either way, 50 or more. 59, okay. I liked the fact that there was that 59% local participation from local companies, and that we have two very experienced gentlemen here locally that would be part of that team. They live here, and they have a vital interest in making sure it's done correctly, not only for the citizens of Paris, because they're part of that community. And so they want to make sure that whatever is done is going to be lasting for a long time for the residents. And it is a reflection of their companies here locally. So I think that's a good thing. I think that's a good thing. I liked the fact that they would be here to oversee and watch the construction. Greg Hooten, I believe, okay, is in Commerce. I like that you were very close. And that y'all could be up and running and willing to start within 24 hours after a contract was signed. I was very happy about that. Couple of questions I still had. One was what kind of information y'all would be willing to leave with our city staff once the construction is completed. I know some of the other companies said that they would be willing to leave some information.
You mean once the engineering, this is the engineering part, so once
Right.
engineering is complete.
Right.
Yeah.
It's completed, that they would pass that information on to city staff. So, you know, that would be something that I would want to make sure that it was included into a possible contract. My second was HDR, and my third was TNP. And I think that's pretty much where I'm at.
Okay. I have another question too, but I'm going to ask in the end, Mr. Frierson next.
Okay. Not your question now?
No, not my
Okay,
question.
check. Actually, I wanted to ask Mr. Godwin his opinion on kind of how he sees this maturation process going. John, do you have thoughts, impressions on one firm, multiple firms, preferences?
I think either one or two would be my preference. You know, I mentioned the other day, I think there's pluses and minuses to both of those, and you could make an argument certainly with either one. The big thing is getting a highly qualified firm, and we've certainly got at least 4 and probably 7 or 8 of those I think are highly qualified. certainly AECom brings a lot to the table because they're both local and not foreign, but out of the area, and a very, very large company. But I think either 1 or 2, and 3 is not bad. I think 4 is too many. I think where the number becomes especially important is to come to contractor time, building construction. And we've talked about the same thing there, and you'll need to have another conversation about that. But that's when I think it becomes extra important is having more than one contractor, at least at the beginning, because of the scope of the varied scope of the project and varied locations. I think 1 or 2, either one works well here.
Okay. Just as far as mine goes, just to echo a lot of what everybody else has already said, I personally thought AECom and HDR were the two that stood out to me. And, as far as number of firms, I would say no more than 2. I kind of thought multiple might be a good way to go, just to make sure that we've got the resources available and applicable. But like I said, AECom and HDR stood out to me. As far as the contractual part of it, to be quite honest, I think that's why you're here, and part of the reason we need to hold you accountable as far as negotiations and those things go. So, short and sweet, but that's my thoughts.
Dr. Grossnickel?
I don't really have anything original to add. I concur with what Ms. Drake and Mr. Frierson said, and I've ranked AECom and HDR as my first and second choices, followed by TNP. I had some concern about putting all our eggs in one basket, but it's probably a good team to put your eggs in with. So if we do choose AECom as the sole provider, I think that would be the best to have as a sole provider. But I'm not opposed. Like I said, I really ranked HDR just about the same as AECom. They're both big companies with lots of resources. Hopefully some of those are excellent in our area, and we get all the good work we expect from this company. I'm not quite sure, John, is this going to continue the design, the project management, all this will be tied in with this one contract?
Correct.
Okay, all right. That's all I have.
Ms. Lancaster?
Well, I really liked AECom because of the high use of local firms. They're including 2 others, and I'm hoping that they can include even more. They're our neighbors, and we think they want a good job, and they'll do a good job for us. That's a lot of strength right there together, those 3. And you can pull in more, I think. You talked about pulling in other firms that could help, and maybe that could give us an even more rapid turnaround. I like TNP, and that would be my second choice, and perhaps we could even use them on some of the work. HDR, I really liked the fact that we're going to put a local office. Well, AECom is here and very close, so that's definitely a plus for me.
Mr. Jenkins?
Pretty big decision, being a councilman, so my name would be on it also. So I guess we're starting a trend here. I kind of like AECom too. I was won over with the locals, so that was my first choice. So other than that, TNP was my next choice.
Mr. Wright?
I liked AECom. I had them picked for number 1 for a number of reasons. Among those, local participation, people who are familiar with our system, both in engineering and in knowledge of the city. They checked very well on people that I checked with that they've done work with as far as compatibility, being responsive to needs and requests and other things. And I like to give to local people. I'm sure that they'll be willing to negotiate and do all they can to help us complete the project within a reasonable amount and be it in a timely fashion. End the story.
You didn't answer I'm going to go one by one once again because most people have answered one question, not the second question. One company, two company.
One company.
One company, two company.
One ACOM.
One company.
One company.
Sounds like you're developing consensus. That's fine with me.
Okay. I do have a couple of questions though before I take a vote on this. And one of the questions that I have for AECOM is that does local participation increase, decrease, or the cost of the contract? I know that doesn't factor into giving the contract, but does it help the city in reducing the price, increase, or does it make the price go up because of too many people in it, or it doesn't matter?
Do you want to approach, or do you want to just answer from here?
You please come to the podium.
I appreciate the question. Greg Hooten, I'm the project manager, proposed project manager with AECOM. And Mr. Mayor, to answer your question, we believe it certainly reduces the cost a little bit. There's an intrinsic knowledge from the two local firms that we have selected. The learning curve is much greatly reduced for your project by using their knowledge. So we believe that the price actually, it benefits the city and will reduce it.
The second question that I have is that while checking your references, it was noted that in one of your projects done in Frisco, there was a lot of changeover of staff, the lead staff in the project. Are we expected to see that here? Not expected? Or you going to stay? You've been with the company for a long time. You're going to stay throughout this project?
I've been with the company over 10 years, just recently completed 10 years with the company. Admittedly, on that project, we had some turnover in staff. That was
You were the only one who was stable throughout?
I was stable throughout the entire project, yes, sir.
Okay, and the remainders changed?
Correct.
Was there a particular reason?
No particular reasons, just one of my staff members made a personal choice. She started a family with her husband. She lost. I think that was a good work-life balance for her. And we had one other staff member, primary staff member, that decided to pursue a profession outside of engineering at the time.
Okay. And the third thing I think is not a question for you.
Okay.
Is really a question for John. The answer to your question to Dr. Grossnickel was that it encompasses all parts of this contract. Will encompass all parts, whether supervision or inspection or whatever. You can negotiate that part in it. You can have it as part, oversight as part, or you can, for all that matter, hire another individual for the city to conduct
Actual
oversight.
inspections would be a combination of in-house, and we'll probably have to add some contract person to hire to supplement city staff.
So that can be negotiated.
Yeah.
It's not a fixed thing that when you do the contract with them, that it is an absolute
Correct.
necessity.
Absolutely.
Okay. Does anybody else have any questions before we take a vote on this? No? Okay. Anyone wants to make a motion?
I'll make.
Okay. What's your
I'll
motion?
make a motion that we select ACOM for engineering portion of this project.
Okay. Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? The motion carries. I have a request whether you take it part of it's not a part of this motion, but I would like to see a couple of council members involved in the contractual agreement, and if nobody else has any objection, I would like to nominate them. If they accept it, well and good. If they don't, that's well and good, and the council can give a consensus whether they want it or not. But I think during the contractual phase, I would like to ask Mr. Wright and Ms. Lancaster to be part of it, if it is acceptable to them. And then I want to find out if the council wants to do it or not. So I'm going to start with Ms. Drake. Is that something that you're interested or not interested?
What would be the, I guess, the in-depth that they would be involved and your reasoning possibly behind it?
It makes me just feel more comfortable that somebody can come back to us and clearly tell us. The city manager will do it, I'm sure, and he will do it. But I think there is a personal interest involved on part of the council. The council has shown a lot of interest in it. And again, I'm not fixated on it. If the council doesn't want to do it, that's fine too.
Okay. I don't have any problems.
Mr. Frierson.
Well, I personally think, and this no disrespect to Sue or John, but Mr. Godwin was hired for a reason. This is part of it. We do policy and procedures, and quite honestly, he has more experience, and it's our responsibility to hold him accountable. So, I mean.
So you're not in favor of it?
No.
Okay. Dr. Grossnickel?
Hey, Jay, I'm not really in favor of it either. I really think that none of us has the kind of background that Mr. Godwin has, and as Matt said, he is hired to do this job. I think if somebody wants to sit in, maybe they could be allowed to sit in and listen, but I really think that it would be better served that we let the city manager do what he's trained to do, because we don't have any special training in that area.
Okay. Ms. Lancaster?
Well, I'd really like to see the council be a little involved in negotiation. It's a learning curve, and certainly this is a very large project and very important.
Okay.
So,
Mr. Jenkins?
Kind of in between that.
Well, you have to swing one way or another.
I know.
I can take a vote on this, but tell us what your thoughts are at least.
I'll let John take care of that.
Okay. Mr. Wright?
I'd like to see council participation.
Okay. Then you know what, if it's not an issue, I'm going to make a suggestion, or I'll make a motion that 2 of the council members be involved in it. If it fails, then, you know, so.
Can I ask one more question?
Sure.
Wouldn't the contract be coming back to us to review and ask questions and before it would be signed?
I'm sure it will come back to us. There's no question about it. I mean, we'll be the one who will be agreeing to it afterwards.
And could we not let John know either through email or personally any concerns or something that we would like to make sure was in there? I mean, that's just.
I'm sure we can.
Okay.
I'm just a little unsure as to where our basis is for this. Nobody
The basis
specifies.
is just involvement in the decision-making process. There's no other thing about it.
But we don't have any expertise in this area to know what goes into it. to
But we didn't
compare.
have any expertise to vote on this subject either. You're not an engineer and I'm not an engineer either. We make a decision based on what we have learned and what we have studied and what we have been presented. So you don't have to do it. You can simply
No,
say no.
you're right.
Any further questions on this? No. I'll make a motion to.
Can we even vote on this? It's not an agenda item.
It is part of the
Is it?
contract, yeah.
It's procedural.
Yeah. I'll make a motion to have 2 council members as part of the discussions of the contractual agreement. Can I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion.
I need to know who's voted for.
The 4 of us voted for.
Okay, thank you.
3 opposed. I think that calls us to the end of the meeting. So item number 4 is adjournment. You'll adjourn. Thank you, everyone.